Hello and welcome to another Andrew CBO video. Here are some big UK retail brands that have disappeared over the years. JJB Sports became one of the biggest sport retailers in the UK with hundreds of stores across the UK. Launched in the 1900s, it began its growth from the 70s when Dave Whelan expanded into a second store in Sutton. In summer of 1998, it bought out Sports Division, a large competitor at the time. They reached an impressive sales figure of £372.97 million in 1999. From July 2002, they started international expansion with a store in Amsterdam. By 2005, they reached a new height of stores with 430 across the UK. Whelan then sold his 29% stake to Exeter, an Icelandic company, for £190 million. However, financial darkness was coming with the financial crisis and the rising interest rates. It hit JJB's revenue, and very bad results were released, which crashed the share price. JJB owned suppliers large amounts, and Sports Direct saw an opportunity and bought a 34% stake in the troubled firm. In February 2011, JJB Sports admitted 95 stores were at risk of closure. With £31.5 million of debt, they attempted to raise £65 million from investors. It was a failure, and by 2012 administrators had been called in, and most of the 180 stores were closed. Sports Direct bought the name and saved 20 stores. JJB Sports was dissolved on the 9th of November 2012. Payless DIY became a big brand of DIY products in the UK when Marley Home Care chain began a rebrand in 1983. They wanted to rebrand from a high-quality, expensive brand to a cheap, pile high, and sell it as it comes. This resulted in a massive growth of stores with an increase of sales of 20%. By 1989, it became UK's third largest DIY chain with sales of £230 million. Marley Company sold the brand in 1985 to focus on manufacturing and was bought by Wald White Group. In 1991, Wald were bought by Boots. It was then that Payless was merged with WH Smith's Do-It-All chain. Payless HQ was closed and operations were focused on the Do-It-All HQ in Dudley, West Midlands. After this, the stores mainly faded away or rebranded or sold off to other competitors. Rumbelows started off in the 1950s when Fred Dawes started an electrical chain selling and renting TVs and radios. These stores later started selling other electrical items as well. Vaughan Industries acquired the stores and then later in 1971 bought Sydney Rumbelows chains. Other brands acquired were Mems, Strovers and J&F Stone. These stores were then all rebranded Rumbelows. In 1989 the business was sold to Radio Rentals. With 8% share in 1992, it made a loss of £16 million on revenue of £283 million.
And serve you right.
Mrs. Moore. Oh, don't you pay any more, Mrs. Moore. Mrs. Moore, please don't pay any more.
Oh, what's your giant to stereo? The item you want could be a Rumbelows. The price makes a lot of your pound, so don't keep going all around town. Wipe it through the nose, just go straight to Rumbelows.
Don't pay any more, Mrs. Moore.
Mrs. Moore may have not paid more, but Rumbelows had, as in 1995, it was shut down. It hadn't made a profit for 23 years. In the past 10 years, it had lost £80 million. Mark I was a discount women's wear clothing brand founded in 1985 by Mark Rothman, Les Lucy and Alan Simons. In February 1996, the company went into administration and was bought by Philip Green. Rebranding in the late 90s saw the name shortened to MK1. In 2003, a management buyout occurred with a 90% stake purchased. In November 2004, 177 stores were bought by Icelandic group Buga when Iceland was in a financial boom. In 2007, as things went frosty economically, MK1 had a £17 million loss and hit an iceberg. In 2008, it was sold to the restructuring firm Hilco, but only lasted 3 weeks as Hilco put the firm into administration. Mark Rothman acquired the firm with Jetstar Retail, but only lasted until October when Bailey Singh became the boss. Suppliers were not being paid, and they started bankruptcy proceedings. 60 stores were closed at this point. On the 20th of November 2008, the company went into administration for the second time and was sold to the International Retail. Rothman was later jailed for 8 months due to a director ban in 2001. Powerhouse was a retailer of electrical goods in the 1990s, formed from the merger of Southern Electric.
Those whiz kids at Southern Electric have asked me to test their new range of washing machines and washer dryers. So I've come up with the ultimate biological challenge. Now that's what I call stubborn stains.
Truth, they're disgustingly clean. I'm coming out. Luckily, I had a spare set of togs.
Midlands Electricity and Eastern Electricity retail shops, which were sold after the privatisation of the energy system. They gave themselves a local focus with stores featuring the local area name and suggested that they were local experts. There were branded concessions with electrical brands such as Sony and Time Computers. When Time shut shop, they branded a poor job of rebranding the Time concessions, leaving traces behind. In 2000, there were 200 stores, but 2003, trouble was coming. 2002 had been a poor year, so 80 stores immediately shut shop. The company looked for a buyer, but went into administration. The stores were then bought by a Pacific Retail Group, who made very little effort to refurb the electrical stores. Oddly, they were stocked with no computers or mobile since Time Computers disappeared and felt like an odd shop. In 2005, the end had come, and stores were shutting down, leaving just over 50. The stores stopped being run centrally and slowly disappeared over the coming years.